Let me start the recording. So let me introduce myself. Okay, my name is Krishna. So I have total. So whatever the topics I have specified in the list now. So I will follow this topic list. Okay. So we will continue with we will start with some basics of SQL. Okay, and then we will continue with something like a little bit complex queries and advanced topics, all those things. Now let us see that what is the importance of SQL Server. Okay, and main thing is why we are learning the SQL Server and what is the purpose of SQL Server is to store the historical data. Is to store the data. We will go for either SQL Server or Oracle Server or any type of servers. Okay? So why we need to store the data in only in the servers in any database formats? Why can't we store it in the Excel files or in the notepads? Okay, so why can't we store it in the data in the Excel files? So if you let me explain that. So if you start storing the data in Excel files, so how many Excel files we need? We need large amount of Excel files. Okay, in order to store the high volume of data, so we need so many Excel files and so many Excel sheets. We need to use it. Okay, and suppose let us say by putting some effort we have stored in the Excel files. Then how we can retrieve the data? Suppose if your customer asks you that, hey, can you get me the data of last year January sales? So then you have to go manually and search it. No? That is second issue. And if you store the data in Excel files, how we can provide security to the table data? How we can provide security to the sales data? Okay, that is one more issue. So considering all these issues, we have started storing the data in any one of the servers like SQL or Oracle or IBM DB2 or Teradata, whatever it is. Okay. So then if you store the data in SQL, okay, so we can store high volume of data easily. Okay. And once you stored, can we retrieve the data very easily? Yes. By just writing some select statement, we can retrieve the data very fastly, and we can provide security to the data at multiple levels, at database level, table level, okay, schema level, like that, object level. So we can provide the security at multiple levels if you start storing the data in the SQL files. Okay. So considering all those things, we have started storing the data in any one of the SQL or Oracle servers. Now, first of all, in order to work on the server, so we want to work on the SQL server, how to install the SQL server. Okay, so let me show you where we can install and whether that is a free tool. Yes, we can get the free license also. So let me show you how to reach that, how we can install the SQL server software. So let us go to the, I assuming that, or I'm hoping that you already installed. If not, you can follow this path. Okay, and if you find
Uh,
any
uh,
difficulty,
Mohan, sorry to interrupt. Are you going to send the steps to us after this class? Because simultaneously you want us
anyhow,
to
I'm
do it now
recording the
itself.
class. I'm recording the class. I
Oh,
will
okay,
send you this record.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay, now if you need any help in installation, I will help you. Okay, we can connect me in my morning timings. Yes, the lunch time I can connect and I will help you. Or in the weekends also I will be free. I will help you with connecting, installing. Okay.
Perfect.
So now let us see. We have to go for this docs.microsoft.com. Let us go to this. So since it is a Microsoft product, okay, we need to go to this docs.microsoft.com. Now here you can go to this. So we have an SQL server link is there. So click on this SQL server link. Now let us go for, you can see we have an install option is there. First of all, don't go directly to this SSMS. Okay, Management Studio, don't go directly to this. We have to first install the SQL server. Just click on this link SQL server one more time. And now here you can see there is some installation guide is there. You can follow this, and in this page what we have to do is, let us go to the, so you can see we have some editions and features is there. So we can see we can install any one of these versions, either 2007. Better one is either 19 or 17. Okay, try to install the latest versions. Okay, so now let us go to this. So now here you can see the under the installation media, we can see we have one free version latest is there. Okay, so the server SQL Server software will be available in the enterprise standard and express editions. Okay, so better to go for the developer version, developer edition. So let us go to this free version latest, click on it. So now here you can go and see this. So we have developer edition and express edition is there. So let us go and click on this download now option under the developer edition. Okay, so now you can see a exe file is getting downloaded here, and once it is downloaded successfully, what we can do is we can execute it. Okay, so let us go and click on this show in folder option. Now let us click on this show in folder option. So let us go to that folder. Now you can see we have this SQL Server 2019 latest version is there, developer edition. Right click on it and let us click on this run as administrator. So in this it will show you that one of the custom option or developer option. Let me show you that. So now you can see this window, it will open. Okay, so now you can see we have this select an initial installation type. We have the custom, download media, and basic version is there. Let us click on this basic. Okay, so once you click on this basic version, no, so you don't need to do anything. It will install the software. So within 20 minutes, okay, the software will get installed. Okay, and after installation of this SQL Server, it will prompt you for, so do you have already the SSMS window is created, SSMS software is already installed, or do you want me to install? So it will ask for two options. If it is already there, no problem, or if you want to install it again, then you can go to this. It will direct you the, it will redirect you to the SSMS window. Okay, so it will direct you to this SSMS window. Let me show you that one more time. So once the software for SQL Server is installed, so it will ask you for, do you want me to install the SSMS also? So we have to click on OK. Okay, and then it will redirect you to this page. So it will take 20 minutes. Once you select basic, it will take 20 minutes to install the software. After this is done, after the SQL Server is done, it will ask you for a message. It will ask you a message like, do you want to install the SSMS client also? Then we have to click on yes, and once you click on yes, it will redirect you to this page, and you need to select the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, this is the studio where we can uh, write our SQL queries. Okay, this is the management engine where we can write our SQL queries. Okay, so once you click on this, okay, you can directly download it. The exe file will be there. So you can see we have this download SSMS. So this to this page it will redirect, and you can just click on it and save the exe file and execute the exe file. That's it. Don't go directly to this option. First we have to install SQL Server, and then we have to come to this SSMS window. Okay. And if you need any help in installation, do let me know. I will help you in that. And once it is installation is done, once the installation is done, now let me close this window. So once the installation is done, what we can do is, okay, let me show you that. Okay, so once the installation is done, you can, in the search window, let us go and search for SQL Server Management Studio. Now you can see we have this app will be shown here under your computer, in your computer. Once installation is done, once you specify SQL, so you can see this is the Management Studio app. Okay, so now let us double click on it. So this is how we can install the software. Okay, and once it is installed, you can just double click on this SQL Server Management Studio. Now it's little bit slow, let it open. So in this studio only we can start building our new databases, okay, creating our new tables, all those things we can do it here. Okay, once it is open. Just a minute. Yeah. So now you can see this. We are inside to the SQL Server Management Studio, and now here you can see this is the login credentials screen. Okay. Now we have to authenticate ourselves. Okay, so whether we are the valid users to work on this server or not, so we have to authenticate ourselves. So let us see how we can do that. So first of all, the first thing is server type. So since we are going to deal with data, okay, our server type should be database engine, and we have multiple server types like integration services, reporting services, analysis services. Since MSBI tools are part of SQL Server, since these are also provided by the Microsoft, okay, so these are related to our MSBA projects. Like suppose, let us say, if you want to see the information about cubes, SSAS cubes, using SSAS, that is Analysis Services Engine, we can create the multi-dimensional cubes. If you want to, like a table, we have some cubes also. If you want to see those cubes information, then we need to select the server type as an analysis services. And we have inside the MSBA, we have one more thing called SSIS ETL tool is there. And if you want to see the information about your integration services packages, you can create some packages using the SSIS tools. If you want to see the information about those packages, we have to select the server type as integration services. Now we have one more thing called reporting services is there. If you want to see the information about our SSRS reports, okay, so how many reports are there and what time those reports are executed, and each report how much time they are taking, and each report result set contains how many records. So if you want to analyze those each report and the report execution details, then we need to select the server type as reporting services. But in our classes we are dealing with the data, no, so we are creating the historical data, we are playing with the data, no, so our server type should be database engine. Okay, and after that we have to specify the server name. So what is this server name? How can I know my server name? How I got this server name means the server name is nothing but in which computer you are installing the software. In which computer you are installing the software, that computer name will become the server name. The computer name or computer IP address will become the server name. So now here you can see what is my computer name is. So let us go to this PC properties. So let us go to this PC properties. Under this you can see my computer name is 7GERK1S, no. So that's how my server name also, my local server name also becomes the desktop 7GERK1S. Okay. Now after this per server name, you can see we have the authentication details. So if you are connecting to the local server means the server which you install the SQL Server software which you install in your own computer. So that is called local server. Okay. So for local server, for connecting to the server, local server, you no need to provide the user ID and credentials one more time. It will take the Windows user ID and password. Windows means your computer user ID and password. Okay, no need to again provide the user ID and password here. You can directly select the Windows authentication and it will automatically authenticate you, okay, to connect to the local servers. Okay, see, because for your server, for your computer, you will be the admin, no? So no need to provide the authentication details. You can just select the Windows authentication. Okay, it will take your Windows credentials and it will allow you to work on this SQL server. Okay. Suppose in your companies you are connecting to the servers which were specified, which were placed in the your admin rooms, no? Suppose you want to connect to the development server, or you want to connect to the stage server, or QA server, or production server, then your DBA team, your admin team will provide you the server name and credentials. Okay, so then in your office environment, in your office, okay, if you want to connect to other servers which are not installed in your computer, if you want to connect to other servers which are not installed in your computer, then you have to, the DBA team, they will give some IP address or some computer names. You have to specify that, and after that they will provide you the credentials also. Then we have to select this SQL server authentication and provide the credentials provided by the DBA team. Okay. So that is about SQL authentication. If you want to connect to the servers which are not installed in your computer, then we have to take the authentication type as SQL. Or if you want to connect your own local servers, then Windows authentication. Okay, so these are all the two major types which will be frequently used, and we have some Active Directory authentication process also. So for this also, your DBA team provides a list of usernames. Okay, you can just specify the username and you can connect to the servers. But mostly in any interviews, you can tell these two things only. That's better. Windows authentication or SQL authentication types. Okay, right now I want to connect to my own computer, own local server, no? Then select the Windows authentication and just click on connect. So now you can see this, we are connecting to, we are entering inside to the SQL server. Now you can see this is the SQL Server Management Studio. We are connecting to the Management Studio, okay, in order to deal with the data, in order to store data. Okay, so now you can see this is my server name and we have some folders under it, and we are dealing with the databases. Okay, so now let us see, once you click on this database folder, you can see the list of existing databases. Okay, now let us say I want to create a, first of all we need to start with creation of database. So in order to store the data, first of all, first step is we need to create a database and then the tables. Okay, now let us say for any project we will be creating a new database, no? So like that, let us start with creation of new database. So let us give some name to this, name to our database. So something like you can see we have some db underscore Ramesh is there, Pragib is there. Let me go for db underscore, yeah, Krishna also is there. Let me create a new query window. So first of all, if you want to write a query, then what you can do is put your mouse on this databases and click on this new query window. Okay, so then a new query window session will get open. A new query window session will get open, and in this query window we can write our queries. Okay, so now you want to create a database, no? Then just write create database. Okay, and let us give any database name. Let us say db underscore something like Vijay, like this. Okay. Now, do we have any database name with db underscore Vijay? No. Yes, Vipin and Yugandhar is there. There is no db underscore Vijay is not there. Now, let us click on the right like this, create database name, and you want to execute this query, no? Then select that query, and you can see we have an execute option is there, or press F5. Just click on execute. So now you can see the commands are executed successfully. Now let us go to this and see. Let me refresh this. Let me refresh the database folder. And now here you can see we have one database called db underscore vijay database is there. And let us go to this and see we have some default folders. And under this we have tables folder is there. Let us go and see any user created tables are there right now. So right now you can see there are no user created tables are not there. Okay, like this. So now I want to create a table. First of all, I have created a database, and after that I want to store my data. I want to store my data in one of the table. No? So then let us create a table. So let us give, if you want to give some comments, no, if you can specify double hyphen, okay, and let us say something like query create tables. Okay, so if you give double hyphen, that is nothing but a comment. Okay, and this is the query to create a database. No, let us say so query to create database. Okay, now let us see how we can create a table. So let us say I want to I want to store some employee information. I want to store some employee data. Now let us start with, you want to create table now, then just say create table. Okay, and give some table name. Let us say table underscore employees data, whatever the name. Okay, whatever the name you want to give, you can give like that, table underscore employees data. And after that, open braces, close braces. And inside this, so first of all, we need to collect, we need to specify what type of data you want to store, what data you want to store about an employee. So usually we need to collect the list of fields. Okay, so let us say I want to store the employee IDs, then specify the field name like employee ID, and I want to store his name. No? So let us specify employee name, and I want to store his age information, and I want to store his gender information, and I want to store his something like mobile number. So first let us collect information. What information you want to store about an employee? Okay, let us say his mobile number. Okay, and gender, mobile number, his date of birth. Okay, date of birth and his designation. Yes, let me, or let us say his email address. Okay, email address and his designation. Okay, some column names and whether he is an active employee or not. So let us say he's active. So let us collect some small information. Okay, now you can say I want to collect this information about an employee. So first of all, identify the list of fields you want to store in this table. And after that, so I can specify what type of data you want to allow, what type of data you want to store in this field. So we can call this as fields, or we can call it as column names also. So for this table, these are all the column names, like that also you can call it. Now let us say in this field, what type of data you want to allow or you want to store. So let us say I want to store only numeric values, then just specify it as I want to store employee name. No, what type of data you want to allow? So let us say some string data. No, then specify it as varchar, and how much length you want to allow. Hello, is anyone speaking? Hello, Shiva.
Mohan, there is a line disturbance.
Shiva, can you please mute from your side? Hello, Shiva. Yeah.
Maybe Shiva had some question, so he can put it in a chat box so that Mohan can address it.
Shiva, you can put it that we are now not able to hear your voice. Okay. So now let us see. After that, we have to specify. So what type of data you want to store? So in employee name, I want to store some string data. Then just specify data type as varchar, and how much lengthy name you want to allow. Let us say you want to allow 50 characters, max 50 characters. Then you can specify varchar of 50. And age. So on the age column, we will store the numeric data only. So let us specify it as integer. And gender. So I want to store either M or F. For male, I want to store it as a single character M. For females, I want to store single character F. So then I can go and specify char of 1. I want to allow only one character, then I can specify char of 1. And mobile number, our mobile number will be something like bigger numbers, so 10 digits, let us specify it as begin. Let us specify it as begin like this. And date of birth, usually we will store the date values, so let us say date. Okay, email address, so let me make it as nvarchar. Nvarchar of how much length? Let us say 50 characters. And designation, so let us say this also as varchar. Okay, or instead of designation, let me go for something like doj, date of join. Okay, so doj, something like date time. Okay, and active, so let us say I want to store the boolean data, either 1 or 1 0. Either 1 or 0, I want to store some boolean data, then specify the data type as big. So now you can see this is how we can create a table. Okay, so create table, table name, create table, table name, and the list of, first of all, identify the list of information you want to store, and after that what type of data you want to allow. Based upon that, we have to define the data types for each column like this. Okay. So now in employee name, we want to store the string data, then we have define it as varchar. And in the gender also, we want to store the characters only, either M or F. M or F also one of the characters only, so then but I have defined it as char of 1. So one of the interview question is what is the difference between varchar and char data type? What is the difference between varchar and char? Any guessing?
Mohan, in where it allows only that variables. For example, if employee name, I just provide my name. It will not take my numeric or something. Maybe characters. I'm just correlating it. I'm not sure about it. But the gender, I'm sure that I take only male or female. Just 10 characters. I'm going to give a limit. So probably that's why I use characters only there.
Okay, so you are almost there. Yes, tell me. Okay, so let me tell you that. Okay, you're almost there, but let me give you some more details. Okay, so let us say employee name I have declared as varchar. So if I declare it as varchar of 50, what the SQL server will do is, so it will allocate 50 bits of memory to store the employee name. Let us say, so let me give some example. Let me take a pen. Now let us say you have declared employee name, okay, as varchar of 50, as varchar of 50, so then what the SQL server will do is, so it will allocate 50 bits of cells to store the employee name. So let us say it will allocate some 50 bits of cells to store the employee name like this. So total 50 bits of memory will be there. Okay, 50 bits of cells will be there. Now let us say as a sample, I want to store the employee name as Mohan. So let us say I want to store the employee name as Mohan. So Mohan, how many bits of memory is required? 5 bits of memory is required. No? Like in this, I can store Mohan like 5 bits of memory. Okay, Mohan like this. So I require only 5 bits, and the remaining 45 bits are there. No? So the remaining 45 bits are there are reusable. So if I declare it as varchar of 50, Okay, if my employee name contains 5 letters and the remaining 45 bits are reusable, we can store any other data in these 45 cells. Those are reusable. But instead of varchar of 50, if I declare it as char of 50, what will happen? If I declare it as char of 50 means char means fixed length. Char means fixed length. Means if I store Mohan in 5 letters, okay, in 5 bits, the remaining 45 bits are not reusable. Those are fixed. For every employee name, 50 bits of memory is fixed. Okay, so that is the difference between varchar and char. Char we can declare it for fixed values, and varchar is for, okay, we can reuse it. There is no wastage of memory in this case. So if you know we are going to store some fixed length of data. Now you can see gender, I want to store either M or F. That is fixed. Only one letter is fixed, no? So that's why I have taken the char of one like this. Okay, that is the first difference. And one more difference is, so the maximum value we can declare for a character is char of 255. Only 255 bits maximum length is allowed is 255. Okay, and inside the varchar there is no limit. We can store up to 2 GB data of also. Varchar of max like that also. So we can store like my varchar of max, which will be stored 2 GB data also we can store. Not only varchar of 2000, 3000, 5000. We can store up to varchar of 8000 also. Okay, so that is the differences between the varchar and char. So char is used for storing only the fixed length of data. Okay, so if you varchar means there is no wastage of memory. The remaining cells we can reuse it for storing any other data. And we have varchar and nvarchar also is there. So we have varchar and nvarchar also is there. So then what is the difference between varchar and nvarchar? So I will write the interview questions also, so that I will send you this note so that you can easily remember. So let me show you the string. So what is the difference between the varchar and char? That is a one of the interview question you can get. Okay, so char is for fixed length data, and varchar is for Shiva. We are not able to hear you. You can just specify the doubts here. Okay, so fixed length data and varchar is for, okay, variable length data. Okay, variable length. No, Shiva, I'm getting some extra voice. Okay. You can use your earphones if you are getting like this. Okay. So the remaining cells are reusable. Okay, in case of varchar, but the remaining cells are not reusable. Okay, are not reusable in case of char. Reusable in case of, like this you can type. Okay, so that is the first difference. Okay, and second difference is in char we can store the maximum values, the maximum length. Second difference is the maximum length. The maximum length allowed in char is 255, and in varchar is, you can go for something like more than 8000 also. Varchar is, and in varchar is max length, that is declare as varchar of max. Okay, so in which we can store 2 GB data. In which we can store up to 2 GB data. And we have one more interview question is like, what is the difference between varchar and nvarchar? So we have varchar is there and nvarchar also is there. So any guessing what is the difference between these two? So the second interview question, the interview question will be, so any guessing you can do that. Okay, no problem. If it is wrong also, no need to worry. So what is the difference between varchar and nvarchar? Okay. So if you declare it as varchar, so it will allow numeric values, alphabets like strings. It will allow numerics, strings means alphanumeric. Okay, and it will allow some special characters also. Means what are the special characters you are seeing on your keyboard like @ hash, dollar, percentile is there. No? So there are some special characters are allowed in case of varchar. But in case of nvarchar, there is no limitation in special character wise. Okay, we can store any type of special characters. Okay, but if you use it as varchar, there is a limitation in the usage of special characters. Suppose if you want to store some smiley characters, okay, some smiley symbols, or other languages data or encrypted form of data, then we can better to go for nvarchar data. Okay, so like if you go and see this, we have some system tables. So let us say select a star from sys.messages. We have one system tables where something like message id is equal to message id is equal to 2627. Now let me go and show you that. So now you can see what are the error messages we are receiving in our computer when you are writing the SQL queries. No, all those error messages will be stored in this table. And here you can see this. We have some language ID 1033 is used for English language. So something like violation of a primary key constraint, cannot insert duplicate key. So this is the error message for primary key constraint violation, and which is in the English language. Now you can see we have some different languages also is there. Now you can see we are able to see some special characters. No, so like other languages data also. No, now you can see we have some Chinese, Japanese. Okay, so many Korean languages. Some example, Germany language, whatever it is. Okay, so we have almost 22 languages data is there in this column. So these type of columns, we can mention it as nvar. Okay, and if any something like if you want to insert some special type of symbols, so let me show you some sample symbols. So let me open one Excel file. So in the Excel file, we can see lots of symbols, no, like some smiley symbols. Okay, some @C, rounded R. Okay, son of, daughter of, like that. Okay, now we can go and see this. Let me go for data. Let me go for insert. Now we can see we have one symbol option is there. Let us go to this symbol. And now you can see we have so many types of symbols are there. Okay, now we can go and see this. So we can see we have some rounded C and some smiley symbols. Okay, so we can see some lots of symbols are there. No, so if you want to include some types of symbols, let us say some alpha, beta, and some pi value. Okay, so if you want to insert these some special characters or some symbols, you can go and use this in varchar data type. Okay, now you can see we have some smiley symbols on rounded C. Okay, alpha, beta, gamma. If you want to insert this type of symbols in your tables, okay, then you can go for declare it as in varchar data type. And similarly, if you want to store any images, if you want to store some employee photos in your SQL table in encrypted format, then at that time also you can go for nvarchar. Okay, like this. So that is the difference between the nvarchar and varchar. And when you declare varchar of 50, the SQL server will allocate 50 bits of memory. The SQL server will allocate 50 bits of cells, okay, for storing this employee name. But if you declare employee address as nvarchar of 50, what it will do is it will allocate 100 bits of memory, 50 into 2. Okay, 100 bits of memory it will allocate, and each character will be stored in 2 bits of memory. Okay, so I will show you all those things. And one of the interview question is, what is the difference between integer and big int? So both will allow numeric values, but integer there is a limit, like up to 10 digits is allowed in the integer data type. We can maximum value allow is up to 10 digits. If you want to store some more than 10 digits, like account number, bank account number, or a mobile number, if you want to store more than 10 digit value, then you can go for this big int option, big int data type. Okay, so these are all the interview questions we can expect. Okay, like this. Now let me create a table like this. Now let us start executing this. I want to create a table in which database? In the DBVJ database. Let me go and execute.
Mohan, sorry to interrupt. Did you say big int can have more than 10 digits and maximum is unlimited?
Yes. Okay, more than 10 digits I
Okay.
can go, but maximum I need to check. Okay, but more than 10 digits it doesn't.
Okay.
Okay, maximum you can
Perfect.
go 20 digits like that. No, so maximum number is.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now I have created this table. Now you can go and see this. The table is created successfully. Yes, it is saying that the table is created successfully. Now let us go to this DBVJ database. Let me refresh the DBVJ database. And now let us see this. Now let us go to these tables. Now let us see, do we have our table name is present? No. So what is our table name? Employees data? No. Is the table name is present under the DBVJ database? No. Why? Why it is not showing up here is because right now this session window, this query window is connected to which database? Is connected to master database. Whatever the queries you are executing, no? So this table might be created under the master database. Why? Because this window is connected to master, no? If you go and see this under the master database, so you can see under the master. So since the under the databases list, since the first database name is master, so that's why when you click on this new query window, every time the database, this every query window will be connected to the master. Why? Because that is the first database present in the list. And now let us see under this master, does this table exist? Table underscore employees data. So now here you can see this, we have this table underscore employees data. Yes. So this was created under the master database, but not under the DBVJ database. But how to repoint this session to the DBVJ databases? So let us use the command use db underscore vijay. Use db underscore vijay and let us execute this. So now here you can go and see we have executed like db, and now we can see this session is repointed to the DBVJ database. Just use this command. Or you can manually go and change the database name. You can see the list of all the databases. We can select your appropriate database. That is also. Or you can use this command. Now we can see this session is pointed to DBVJ. Now let us go to this, select this query, create table query, and let us click on execute. Now you can see the table is created successfully. Now let us go to this. Okay. Now let us go to the DBVJ. Let us refresh. So now let us go to these tables. So now you can see we have our table employees data, and if you click on it, we can see the list of column names. Now you can see we have some other column folder names are there, and let us click on these columns. So now you can see the list of the columns we have specified. No, those are all created here. So employee name varchar, gender char, mobile number big int, and email address it is nvarchar of 50. But I told when we declare nvarchar of 50, it will allocate 100 bits of memory. No, so how to verify that is sorry, how to check that is Let us see here it is showing it as nvarchar of 50 only, no? And here you can see by default every column will allow null values. Every column will allow null values. Now let us see the data type. So let us say I want to know whether how much length of data is allocated. Let us say sp underscore help. Now let us see what is our table name. So if you want to see the table definition, you can write this command sp underscore help. Now let us say this table name, which will show you the information about full details about your table. So now you can see this. Once you specify sp underscore help table name. So this is the table which was created by a user. This is a user table, and at what time? So this is the time on date, and here you can see this is the list of columns, and this is the data types. And and you can see is a varchar 50, and we have email address nvarchar of. Now you can see instead of 50 it is allocating 100 bits of memory. Okay, 50 into 2, so each character will be stored in 2 bits of memory. Okay, so that's why we told, like, even though we declare it as nvarchar of 50, it will allocate 50 into 200 bits of memory. Okay, like this. Okay, so this is how we can create a table. Yeah, and if you want to read the table data, once you create the table, if you want to read the table data, then you can just specify select star. So select star from this table name. So which table data? Let us say table underscore employees data. Okay, so this is how we can read the table data. Select star from table name. Star means all the column names. Star means all the columns. Okay, or if you want to read only specific column data, then you can specify the column names also in the select list. So select star from this table, and if you want to read particular columns data, then you can specify which columns. Let us say emp id comma something like emp name comma, okay, and it's the data of join comma email address. So now you can say I just want to see only these 4 columns data. You can specify the column names like this. Okay, so this is how we can create a table. Okay, and this is how we can read the table data. So we'll stop now. So in tomorrow class we will see how many different ways of loading the data into the tables. Okay, in different ways we can insert the data. All those things we can see in the tomorrow class. So same time we can connect tomorrow also. Thank you. Any doubt?
Sure, Mohan. Mohan, I will try to install today. If there is any issues or something, I will connect with you.
Yeah, please call me or ping me after 11 o'clock. Okay, I have some demo classes up to 11:30. You can ping me at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you.
You mean today, 12 o'clock?
No, tomorrow.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
after.
sure. Thank you.
Thank you all.
And you're going to share this documents, right?
Yeah, I will share you these notes and the video also, recorded video also I will share.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.